living La Vida low carb. This show is changing lives. We talking about your diet, trying to get you feeling right. Cut up them avocados, fry some eggs. Time to explore the longest running health podcast, hosted by Jimmy Moore. Time to give up the crappy garbage. We're getting into ketosis. Every day is a new step to your goal. Yeah, you're getting closer, motivated and focused. Don't stop, just go. Time to get inspiration from the Living La Vida Low Carb Show. Hey, the livinglowcarbshow.com.
That's hilarious. I love it.
All right, guys, that right there, Danyell Wallet. Go check her out on Instagram. She is Envision Whole Health with a couple of underscores in there. Envision underscore whole. Wow, my screen went crazy on me. Envision underscore whole underscore health. And she is a keto coach, which she says in the bio. She has a spirit-led approach to health coaching that is undeniable, wants to help you restore your health and confidence holistically. I love that. I love the play on words. I'm a play on guy. Look, Living La Vida Low Carb is the biggest play on words.
Tell me about it. Like, honestly, I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, I'm sorry.
Ricky Martin, eat your heart out, baby.
Seriously, do we?
So, Danielle, you're one of the people who, when I put out the call recently, and I've been having a lot of interviews I had like 100 and something people reach out wanting to be on my podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Still going through them. I've got a bunch of them coming up, but you were one of them. Like, Jimmy, I got a topic. I want to, well, number one, I wanted to get your pretty face on my podcast. So we got that here today. But I wanted to hear what you had to say. And you said, Jimmy, I think there's a lot of diabetics that think they have to stay on medication the rest of their life. And I'm like, yeah, they do.
Yes.
And like, I want to talk about how I free diabetics from all. Get into that here in just a moment. But let's learn more about you, Danielle. Tell me who you are. Do you have a weight loss success story or something with keto that got you into it?
Oh, my word. Yes. It's okay. It's so amazing. I have to. Oh, all right. Let me just get myself, because already I feel like emotions coming. So what happened was I got married in 2017, and then I moved to the Netherlands, and it was great. But I still had I don't want to say the American mindset, because it had nothing to do with America. It had everything to do with the way I was eating, how I was eating, and everything else. But even before that, Jimmy, I was hardcore deep since I was 29. I'm 38 now. I'm not even ashamed. Since I was 29 in being a diabetic. I found out I was a diabetic through a UTI. That's how I found out. So I've been going to, like, seriously.
So they ran a test of your urine and they found sugar in there. How did?
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
It was so. Now firstly, I have to preface. Before I actually went and saw them, because I said, I'm hungry, I went and I stopped at, I don't know, 1, 2, or 3, maybe 3 fast food places. I picked up, I don't know, I think it was some kind of burger, I don't know what, but it was heavy. I definitely went to McDonald's because they have the 3-for-1 cookies. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yes. But you see, Jimmy, I would buy them out.
Yeah.
And it's like crazy, because the kids always wanted to get in the car with me when they're coming home from school, because they knew I was going to McDonald's. I was going to get those cookies. And mine were always the oatmeal raisin. Now, I'm not glorifying them. I'm just saying the way it was. That's the way it was.
Hey,
so
don't lie. You loved them. You loved them back in the day.
For real. It's like hardcore. Hardcore.
Like for me, chocolate chip and other people.
Yes.
White chip, like, let's don't deny those things.
Yes.
Go to.
Honestly, and people sometimes I hear people, they're like, oh my God, it's just so disgusting carbs. I'm like, what? It's disgusting. What do you mean it's disgusting? How do you mean it's disgusting? It's still delicious to my tongue. My body just doesn't like it.
There is a reason why we have keto cookies now.
Yes, absolutely. And I wish I'd known about it back then, because it took me those cookies, the burgers and everything else, and Okay, you know those Shamrock Shakes? I don't know. I can't remember who did those ones. I don't know who did the Shamrock Shakes, but they had the Shamrock Shakes with, oh my gosh, I think I even have one with the brownie pieces. I all of that before I even stepped foot.
To everybody joining us, we're not having a love for carbs.
No, we're really not. We're really not. I'm just explaining how, I have to give you guys this preface.
Yes.
Because if I don't,
Painting the picture. Painting.
Yes. If I don't, you're not going to understand what happens next. So all of that consuming, waiting. At that point, I have Kern, what is it? Oh my goodness. I had good insurance. I'll say that. I was paying for it out of pocket with my job. So I had good insurance back then. So I went over there, and I have to say that because you'll see why I say that later. I went there eating all the things, sitting, waiting my turn, la-di-da-di-da, okay. They took me in. They said, okay, go ahead and let's get your urine. They bring me back rushing. Oh my gosh, come here, sit down. You need to sit down. Sit down. Just sit down. Come over here. We need to do this test and this test. Come on, everybody, please. And then they checked the sugar and they said, hi.
By the way, before they had that test to test the urine, do you know how they knew someone was diabetic?
I know, but say it out loud, Jimmy, because I love when you say things. You're smart.
That they didn't have the test. They made the newest member of the medical staff, which was usually like an intern or something, sip it and had to.
Oh. I didn't know it was a news member. so that was the initiation.
It was sweet. They were diabetic.
Oh, that's horrible.
I don't want the drink urine job because drinking sounds fun.
No, I'll stay. You want me to mop? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Clean the toilet, toothbrush, anything.
Exactly. Oh my word, that's horrid. And you see, and that's exactly, well, that's not exactly what happened there. But my urine, I hope, my urine was so, to the point, it was so clouded, I guess, with everything else.
Yeah.
By the time that they actually took my blood to test me, the meter just said hi. And I said, well, what does that mean? Because I really didn't care. Honestly, I didn't care because it didn't make sense to me. Because before then, with all of the other doctors and all of the other clinics and everything else, they said, oh, you're fat, lose weight, exercise, eat right. Cool. I have family healthcare. Yeah. I had family healthcare. It's more of a low income slash wealth, I won't say Wells Fargo, welfare type of insurance.
Yeah.
And I have to say that because when I had insurance, they were doing the same tests or not doing the same tests. It doesn't matter because they saw a trend. And when I finally had the insurance,
they should have seen a trend.
Yes, they should have. I say that. Yes.
And
I try to.
Diabetes doesn't just pop on people. No. It develops over decades.
Yes. Yes.
Faster than that, but it's a very slow, methodical. You're becoming more insulin resistant.
Yes.
Carbs, and then your insulin's trying to keep up with it, but after a while it kind of goes la 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 doo da.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Signal. And so for you at the age of 29, here you are having eaten junk food for most of your life, probably.
Yes, that is exactly it. And it's nuts because when we were younger, that's just what you did. That was a treat.
Yeah. Dude, I got to 32 years old without getting diabetes, literally, and I'm not kidding you, Danielle, I ran the numbers one time.
Yeah.
Literally eating 1,500 to 1,600 grams of carbohydrate a day, mostly high fructose corn syrup in the Coca-Cola and the wheat sugar that was in the Little Debbie snack cakes. And I did all the McDonald's and Taco Bell, you name it. I was crappy garbage galore. How I did not become diabetic, I have no idea. But I know even after I went on the Atkins diet, I had to deal with the ravages of insulin resistance. So I was on my way.
Yes.
when I was 32, here at 49, about to turn 50, I would be a severe diabetic, if not dead today.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable, really. That is unbelievable. And some people say, well, okay, well, if you have this body type, not body type in essence, but if you have, well, yeah, okay, if you have this body type versus this body type versus this body type, then you're more prone to this and you're more prone to this. And I'm still trying to study that out and see if that's true. But if it is, well, I guess I got lucky.
Well, I think there's a certain segment of the population where the insulin resistance is a lot worse.
Yeah.
And so that's why I hate the judgment that, well, you're still fat and you eat keto and you're still fat. I'm like, yeah, but my insulin resistance a little harder than yours is.
Yes.
I'm more badass than you are is what I tell
Yeah, exactly. You gotta go hardcore on them sometimes.
But it does mean that I will work harder to get the same results as someone who does not work as hard. And people that they want equal effort. This is why the comparison game, and I know you see this with your clients. Your clients come to you and they go, Danielle, I'm doing all the things and I'm seeing my husband do the exact same thing that I'm doing, and they're losing 10 times the weight. They're feeling great. I feel like crap. I haven't lost any weight. And they have this, they want to do the comparison game, not realizing you ladies especially have these hormonal issues that are very special.
Yeah, very special. Sparkles and everything. Like, honestly, that is so true. It really is. And I had one family in particular, and I was so happy. Now, I have to admit that one gave more effort than the other, and the one that gave the effort was actually the man. I was surprised. But he did, and he just like went sliding down that hill of weight loss, and I was just like, oh my gosh, yes. It's all just like, do it, you got this. But I already knew, hormonally speaking, that okay, she's gonna have to deal with a lot more, and that's the way it is. But so I was encouraging her too. But you know what? The fact is, he was really more motivated. She was more on the lines of, I don't like this, and he was more like, let's do this. So it's mindset also.
I mean, guys are more go get them, and no offense to the ladies. I know I have a few on here. Keto teacher mom's on here right now. She's a go getter as well, and she did phenomenally on there. But a lot of guys, they have that natural drive. We drive ourselves. I don't have to look at another guy and go, "Oh, I wish I looked like that." No, screw that. I want to look like me, and I want to be a Whereas girls, they play the, oh, I want to look like so-and-so, and or we're doing the journey together. Wow, why are they getting better results than me? We're doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
A lot of those kind of mind games you have to get beyond.
Honestly, that's so true, because honestly, and then I'll get back to the story. I found more often than not, and okay, firstly, I would call myself a unicorn because I honestly didn't care. My mom always taught me, even though I may have had some rough patches and everything, but she always taught me, keep your head up, back straight, look forward, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
And I said, well, okay, that's what it is. That's what it is.
So Danielle, you got this diabetes diagnosis, and tell us that journey of, did they put you on a bunch of drugs? What happened?
Oh my gosh. Look, so
whoa.
This is just this I still have. This is from 2019, and I haven't gotten rid of them yet. It's crazy enough. I have these are the Lancets. This they gave me for 3 months.
What is that?
This is glycoside.
Ah, glycoside, yes. That's a drug that they put, other than metformin, that tends to be one they put everybody on.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We can't forget about metformin. And I still have these, because what do I do with this stuff? What do I do with it now?
Look, I think if you're going to take one drug, the whole world, metformin's probably a decent one.
Yeah.
Because it has minimal side effects, but it has so many good kind of metabolic effects. Although I do think eating a well-formulated ketogenic diet with some movement and some other things will mimic the effects of. And there's also berberine as a supplement, which can also mimic the effects of that drug. And so if I was going to take a drug, that would be one I would not mind, metformin. But if you can get off of all of them, that is the goal.
Like, honestly, and believe me, they put me on metformin first, and then upped the dosage,
Yes.
and then they upped the dosage some more, and then they said, okay, let's bring it way up. And you know what I found? I found that I saw more of my toilet than I saw of my family. That's what I found.
Keto Chow is a customizable shake mix that is also perfect for cooking and baking, giving you simple, nutritionally perfect meal options. Keto Chow. Make keto easy. Discover your favorite flavor at jimmylovesketochow.com.
The funny thing, when they put people on metformin, they don't explain why it works. And
No.
you know why it works. You're not going to eat a crap load of junk anymore.
Exactly.
Instructions on how to eat?
Yes. None. The only, okay, going back, one doctor, and I don't know, I think he was trying to hint at it, but based off of my insurance, honestly, based off my insurance, he only said as little as you could say without saying what he needed to say. That twists me a certain way. But anyway, what he said was, stop eating white things, don't consume milk or cheese, and what else? No bread. And I said, okay, now that is really fantastic. But you see, that was before I was diagnosed. And I had no clue why he was telling me these things, to be honest. And at the point that they were telling me those things, they just said, oh, you're a bit fluffy. Maybe you should lose weight and this. I'm like, okay, well, I've been fluffy ever since I left high school. You know, exactly. Look, I was out of PE when I was a junior. So there's no way that I'm going to be, what, you want me to lose weight? My weight came, my hormones set in, my hips spread out. I'm ready. I lose weight. Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Yes.
You know what else he said? My daughter was there at that point. He said, you're a little obese. Okay, look, I don't care if you call me fat or a hippo, but you know what my daughter, she heard? Mom, he called you a beast.
You're a
That was, any anger that I had at that point was gone. A beast. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I remember attending, Danielle, some of the medical conferences when I first started blogging and podcasting. They had like a citizen journalist to report on it. And I remember they had all these discussions amongst these doctors. We can't use the word obese anymore. People will take offense to that. I'm like, you think?
Yeah. Like, honestly, because really, I mean, I was at the point, okay, when I was in high school, I was still 5'10" at that point. I say my height fluctuates at this point. Catch me early in the morning. I'm a good 5'10". But but you know, I was 180. I was 5'10", 180. I'm a built female. My mom was a built female. My grandmother was a built female. I mean, if we were dragged out of the Amazon to come, well, there we have it. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way we were. But I didn't know that had anything to do with it, really, because from what I knew, everybody who was supposed to be skinny, everybody was supposed to be very thin, and everybody was supposed to eat like a bird. And I wanted no part of that.
Well,
I wanted no part of that.
Like, that is such a cultural thing that if you're fat, you just need to eat less, you need to move.
Yes.
Your problems will go away. And I'm thinking, if that advice actually worked, everybody would be doing it.
Honestly.
And we were all supposed to look exactly the same physiologically, all the same characteristics. How boring would the world be? I want to see a girl with curves, I promise you.
Yes, exactly. Now I have to tell you though, since I lost my weight through keto, my husband, he's like, babe, I love the fact that you're healthy, but I sure do miss some of those curves.
Well, let's see, health or looks, you have to wait.
You know, exactly. He's like, you know, I prefer the health, but man, oh man, if you pick up a kilo or 5, I won't be too upset.
So Danielle, you got on all those drugs.
Got on all those drugs.
Tell us the journey, how you found keto.
Okay, now this is fantastic. It's crazy and I love it. And it's stupid how simple it was. I love to watch cooking shows. I'll watch cookie shows all day long. I'm that person who tries to make everything, and maybe it doesn't work out, but I try. And I'm the one who says, I'm gonna learn how to make this from scratch. I'm laughing now because my daughter, she's sitting across from me, she's laughing, she's like, yeah, not everything works out. But but you know, I'm that DIYer. I say learn how to do it yourself. You need to always know how to do things yourself so that way you can take care of yourself. If anything happens, you know how to make bread, you can catch a fish, what have you. So back to what I was doing. I was, you know, on YouTube, just checking things out, looking for it because I love Jimma, Bigger Bolder Baking. But I was like, okay, this instance, this part of my life, I'm probably going to set aside for a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to do because my dietitian, she scolded me so hardcore. My diabetic dietitian here in the Netherlands, I think they take it a little more seriously. I don't want to say that's true because I don't know. I can't cover everybody. But I came back from California. I was at 280 pounds.
Wow.
I left the Netherlands, and I believe to go visit for the summer, and I was at 200 and I don't know, 250, I want to say. I picked up 30 pounds in that time frame, and I know that a lot of that had to do with hormones and all the weight, and
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But still, she was horrified. She's like, "What are you gonna do? This is not good. What we're gonna do? You're gonna die." She told me, "You are dying." And honestly, yes. Go ahead. I see your face.
What was your A1C when you got diagnosed with diabetes?
Oh my gosh. I don't remember what it was when I got diagnosed.
Maybe like 10 or 11?
It had to be, yeah, it was super duper high.
Okay.
Because we were happy when we got to 9.
Ah.
We were,
Probably. It probably
Yeah.
was like 13, 14 if they were happy at 9.
Yes. And you know what? Now that you mention it, I believe it was 13. And then finally, when I got to her and she made me do the tests all over again, she said, "This is still not acceptable. You're not in a good place."
So those of you that don't know, A1C is like the last 3 months of your blood sugar. It's this key little marker, and the number is in millimoles per liter. We don't do millimoles in America. And so
No.
2 milligrams per deciliter as a blood sugar. A 13 is like 200 something as your average
Yeah.
sugar.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's no bueno.
Yeah, and that certainly was it. That was certainly always. When I finally realized that I was in a bad place after she told me I was dying, I was killing myself, really. Because up until that point, it was nothing. I was taking all these medications. I take that back. I stopped taking the medications because I hated the way I felt. I felt like crap. I was always feeling sick. I felt nauseous because I was up and down with the medications. I tried to follow it, and then I can't stand pills. I cannot stand medication. I know they have a place.
So you were eating the diet that was no dairy, was no bread. What were you eating at this time?
Oh my word. You know what they tell you to do and what you do as a patient are two different things, right? Because they said don't. But that's not what I did. And honestly, on this side of the world, they said, "Oh no, just take it easy. Eat whole wheat bread. You can still have your potatoes, just eat less potatoes. You can have this and that." So really, like honestly, I was like, wow. Well then, I'm just gonna eat then. You know, the stamppot. I'm gonna have my stamppot. Stamppot is delicious.
Moderation.
Yes, moderation doesn't work with somebody who's a fiend at all.
And yes, a fiend. And then look, diabetes is a disease of carbohydrate intolerance. And so even of that, all those drugs you were taking, and you now know this as a keto coach, and we're going to get into that in a minute, but all of those drugs you were taking were merely covering up the effects of the carbohydrates in moderation.
Yes. And I can't stand that because, let's just slap a Band-Aid on it. It's all good. No. But you stop taking that medication and you're slipping down the hill. I started muscle wasting. And I didn't know what was happening. But, you know, I studied as a medical assistant. I studied as a phlebotomist in the States. So I had a clue of what was going on with my body. I was like, oh, crap. Something's not right. But I'm on a bike. I'm on a bike every day. I ride my bike to work. I ride my bike home. I ride my bike to the grocery store. I have no car. I have no license here. I have no license. So it's not like I wasn't exercising, but I was still muscle wasting. I was still, losing weight, which looked great at the time, but it was absolutely not what it was. I wasn't losing weight. I was losing muscle. I was losing all those things. I was dying and I had no clue. I had a clue, but I was just like, well, what are you going to do? Okay, fine. Take the freaking medication. All right. So I took the medication. I hate medication. It reminds me of addiction, of all those things, no control, not having that. I have issues with control. You can ask anybody, but it made me look for another answer, and I'm glad it did, because I was going through YouTube. I saw somebody on YouTube. You might know him. His name is Wes Shoemaker. He is the host, the creator of Highfalutin Low Carb. He is not a chef. He's just a cook. And what he does is he tries out foods of everybody, from this person or that person blog, and he pits them up against each other and sees what's the best. And at first, I just loved the fact that he was cooking and he had a Southern accent. And I just loved it.
Wrong with a Southern accent.
Exactly. I was just like, oh, listen to this guy. He's so cute. He's going to cut your leg off. So, I was just like so enthralled with him. And he's like, look, so this has no sugar and this has no sugar and it tastes delicious. And I was like, what? And he's like, and this wasn't made with flour and this isn't made with flour and this is the way this made. I was like, what? And so, like, really, he was drawing me in with these recipes because, look, if you can give me good food, then I will follow.
Yes.
And that's what it was. I could not get behind all of that stuff that they were saying. And mindset, I have to be honest, mindset, I was not ready. I've come across a lot of my clients who are absolutely not ready. They think they're ready. They think they want to lose the weight, but they're not ready mentally for what it takes to do that. It means shutting things down. You got to shut that mess down.
What was
oh my goodness
for you that was making you not ready?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I haven't dug that deep yet, Jimmy.
Especially with you seeing your own clients now, I think what were those mental blocks? Because it wasn't a physical block other than you were being terrified by the medical professionals that you're going to die if you do things quick. And so, that would be worth exploring, kind of digging in. What was the mental block? Eventually you got over it though, because you started keto. Exactly.
Honestly, because, if I think back, because I've been doing a lot of thinking back since actually I've been listening to you. I actually have to like, first of all, say I'm so glad you're on, because I've done a lot of thinking back and I've made a lot of changes, like crazy changes, things I wouldn't even be expecting that I would do myself, like, because I had to look inside. And I just put out, oh my gosh, I said on one of my podcasts myself, I said, it's hard to look inside yourself because you find the skeletons. And then once you find the skeletons, you got to figure out, are you going to deal with those skeletons or are you going to leave them there? Because once you know, you have to handle it. Otherwise, you're going to be doing that same old thing over and over and over, and you're going to die inside. Right. So finding that turnaround, oh man, you know what? I think it was knowing finally that I could eat. Yes. Honestly. And it sounds so simple. It sounds so stupid. Like, of course you can eat. You can always, no. Because what they were telling me is that I could eat, but I wouldn't be able to enjoy. You know what I found out? And you know what I realized with you, Jimmy? Because it's funny. Because I was one of the podcasts you were doing, and I listened and I was like, oh my gosh. I was cleaning. I was working. And I said, I eat and I overeat. And I take pleasure in that eating, not because I like the food, but because when I was younger, we had a scarcity. We had that scarcity of food. And when I ate that food, I knew that everything was okay. And so I overate so that way I could, and I felt safe.
Are you tired of playing the mask game? Me too. That's why I wanted to tell you about the Unmask. This is a breathable, completely breathable. It covers, you can't even see that it's breathable, but it's breathable. Whether you're going on a plane, having to go into a store and wearing this thing, playthemaskgame.com is how you can get this mask. They come in all kinds of colors and everything. In fact, right there, you can see right through it what it is, but when you're wearing it, it does not look like it's anything different, but it's breathable, baby. Playthemaskgame.com. Man, you are digging into something really deep I didn't know we were going to go into today.
You know, I mean, I was like, okay, am I going to still talk to him about diabetes? Because honestly, I feel like there's something more that needs to come out. But like, honestly, I promise, Jimmy, it was like, what? So I posted it. I actually posted it to, I don't know if it was Instagram or if it was to my Facebook, just because I had to let it out before I just let it stay in. Because if I didn't acknowledge it and if I didn't say it out loud, then I was going to allow myself to continue in that and not move forward. I had to move forward.
Yes.
I had to.
Danielle, your energy is so infectious. Thank you for that today. My ability to like steer the conversation. So I need to get us back on your keto story.
Oh, you're good. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
No worries. I'm messing with you, sweetie. So you saw this cooking channel, highfalutin low carb on YouTube. So you saw all those. Did you just start carte blanche on your own? Did you learn any kind of the science behind it? What was that?
It was science for me. It was like, that food looks good. It looks like it tastes good. I'm going to do that. And so what I did say, because my daughter was sitting next to me, I said, look at that. Because we watch these things together. The things I used to feed her, that's another channel. She's like, mm-hmm. But honestly, I said, look, that's what we are going to do. Sorry, I'm getting a notification, Leanne Vogel. Hey, Leanne. But it was just like crazy. I was like, dude, I'm going to do that. And she's like, you're going to do that? Because you saw it looked like it was way less, you know. I mean, it wasn't the full pack of Oreos. It wasn't the full pack of, Chips Ahoy's all in one night, by the way. And it wasn't the bag of chips next to it. And it certainly wasn't the big box of candy cereal. All of the cereal's candy, but you know which ones I'm talking about. And it wasn't none of that. It was actually whole, regular foods done in a way that was unconventional to us.
Yes.
When I saw that I could eat, oh my gosh,
Look,
it felt off.
That's what I love about Maria Eric's recipes, because she made them for her two little boys.
Yes.
They wanted a ding dong, so she made a ding dong for them. And they wanted a keto-fied version of the real theme. Now I know people in the community, they're like, well, you're never getting off of that mentality that you want, blah blah blah, and I can honor that and yes, the goal is let's get people on real whole foods, but as a transitionary or for kids,
absolutely,
I think it's brilliant that we have people like Maria and and Suzanne Ryan, all these people I just insulted like the vast majority of my friends out there.
They know you love them. They know you love them. But honestly, that's what it was. When I knew that I could eat and I didn't have to be miserable, because eating was a solace. Cooking was therapeutic. And if I knew I couldn't cook the way I wanted to cook and enjoy it, because I make things, I bake things, I give things away. That's what I did. You know, here's my love. Here you go. And big piece of cake here for you. You know, and that was me. That's what I did. That's how I expressed myself. And once I thought that was all taken away, I said, well, what's the point? You know, all of my life was taken away. I said, if I can't eat and enjoy my life, and be healthy, then I'm going to enjoy my life and be unfit and sick, because either way, I'm going to enjoy my life.
So Danielle, you start eating this way. So what happens?
Oh my word. Oh my gosh. It was a shocker. It was not a shocker. I mean, okay. So I believed it, right? I believed that this could happen. I believed it, but I mean, I wasn't sure how it was going to happen. What I did was, after I saw him, I started looking it up. And I said, okay, well, this keto thing, let's give this thing a try. Who cares? We're just going to do it. But I didn't know what it was, but I was going to do it. It made no difference, because before, when I was, I don't know, in my later 20s or early 30s, I looked up paleo. I said, according to the doctors, this is not for me. I said, I looked up a few other things. I'm like, that's not for me. So when I went to the keto, I said, it doesn't matter if I don't know what it is, because the other things weren't for me, and regular food is not for me. So I'm going to find something that's regular for me. So when I started with the keto, I first started just looking up recipes. Tap, 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 tap. You know what? I find it so, I don't want to, be disrespectful to anybody, but, I come up with recipes all the time. We have our website, theluckystove.com. I put recipes on there nonstop, but even the YouTube.
Slow down. Say
Oh
it.
yeah, I get excited.
Slower. Go.
Yeah, theluckystove.com.
Theluckystove.com. I just want to make sure
Yeah.
I heard it. So,
Yeah.
because here's how it sounded on my end. And so I'm just going to go to my website. Are we auctioneering off your website now?
Oh my word, I can just imagine. I have to slow down. When I get excited, I just go full throttle.
I
Whoosh.
know what I was getting myself into here today with you, Danielle. You
No, but come on back for seconds, because I
have
got
challenged
more.
me as an interviewer today.
You're like, oh dang, wait a minute. I only got an hour.
I am loving your story. So you got on keto. You started
Yeah.
hungry and thirsty for everything about it.
Yes, honestly, I really was. And I said, finally, when I saw the results, like, it didn't take long. It did not take long, because I was always checking my blood sugar, even though I knew I was doing crappy things. I still checked it because I wanted to know what it looked like. I'm a little weird that way. I still want to know. So from 1 week, I'll say 1 week to another week, the blood sugar dropped, and it dropped in a way where I could feel myself feeling a little nasty and woozy, because I was finally starting to take the medication, because she said, I'm going to die. Okay, take the medication. So I was taking the medication. I was like, oh man, I feel like crap. What is this? So I said, oh, okay. Well, you know what metformin does. Okay, and this is doing this. So obviously, okay, give it a little bit longer. And I kept on. And it was 2 weeks, and about in the third week, I was like, forget this metformin stuff.
Well,
I said, forget it.
That's why they need to explain why you're injecting yourself with insulin as a type 2 diabetic. They need to explain why you're taking the various drugs and what they do. Some of them are insulin modulators. Some of them act in other ways. But if you don't know and you start eating keto and then you keep taking all those same drugs, you're going to go into hypoglycemia.
Like, seriously, I was nauseous. I was dizzy. But I was just like, because look, I said, no pain, no gain.
You took away the thing that the drug was covering up, and that was the carbohydrate.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I said, well, shoot, I don't need this anymore. I had a friend. She was in some kind of, I don't know, whatever she was doing. But she told me one time, the reason why metformin makes you feel like crap is because you're constantly eating carbs. If you, at that time, she said sugar, because I didn't understand that at that point. I was younger. And I was like, oh, and it didn't play back into my head until that moment. And then a little bit later on. And I was like, oh, okay, so I don't need this because I'm not eating that. Oh, okay. Now, and it's silly because, my medical assisting, all of that stuff, it trained me, it taught me, but it didn't really it just taught me how to help people get the medication, whatever. Anyway, I get my blood sugar lower to the point where I take myself off the meds. I didn't talk to her, and she appreciates it, by the way. She wasn't mad at me. She just said, okay, take it easy. Don't be too strong being strict. And I said, well, I'm going to be as strict as it needs to be. Look at this. This is amazing. This is like a miracle. How come you guys didn't tell me this? And it wasn't, and that's the accusation that shot through my forehead to her. It wasn't her fault. She's not trained. I don't care how much of a diabetic dietitian you are. If you don't really train yourself in these things, you're not going to really know. You have to really get deep down in that. So
they are indoctrinated. If you have,
yes,
you're indoctrinated in certain mantra of here's medical, like the medicines that you're taking.
Yes.
Protocol for the diet you should do. They don't give specificity, and then 6 months because we're going to have to put you on stronger medications. That's the protocol.
Yes, exactly. And I promise, she was, because she told me I was going to die, and because I found a way to eat food and enjoy it, and because I was tired of my family pulling me off the couch, me crying up the stairs. I mean, because I still had to work. I still had to ride my bike from this part of the city to another city. It wasn't like I was working really close by. All those things came into play, and I said, enough is enough. But the enough is didn't come until I knew I had a way out. I needed that way out. Without knowing what I could eat, I had no way out. And I was going to keep on doing the same thing.
And so the knowledge of keto was that way out.
Yes, absolutely. I have to tell you, because I could have continued. I could have done the rabbit thing. I could have done all of those things. I've joined gyms. I've joined plenty of gyms. I mean, they're probably still have me in collections. I've joined too many. I've done lots of things. I've followed all kinds of diets. I've counted calories. I've restricted. I've even done seriously damaging things to my body to make sure that I could lose weight. You know, I went on a fast for somebody's soul, and I continued on because people told me how good I was looking. You know what I'm saying? That's oh, you're looking good. Well, the fast was no longer about that soul. It was about me losing weight. And so it became an ED, if you will. Instead of me reaching for somebody's soul, now I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I can slim down. Okay, hey, brother, you're going to have to wait, and that's sad. But that's the way it went. That's the way it went.
So
finally.
So Danielle, what period of time from the time you had that like 9-ish blood sugar until you were no longer diabetic, how long did that take you?
Okay, so I went in after 3 months of being on keto because she saw me. She said, come back in 3 months. I want to know how you're doing. Do your blood work and everything. And that was in, I want to say November. I want to say that was in November because I started September
2017.
Yeah, well, no. That's when we got married. But I started September 2019.
19, okay.
Yeah, I started September 9th.
I'm lying a little bit on order. All right, so November.
I know. I'm all over the place, Jimmy. You're gonna have to get a GPS and follow me. But
No.
but okay, so I started in September 2019. My keto anniversary is September 13th, as a matter of fact. And yeah, so it's coming up. And like from September to November, going in to see her after giving my blood work and everything, she was astounded. She was astounded by the change. Now, I can't remember what it was to what it, the number that it changed to from that point, because I was just excited to be up there and say, look, I lost the weight. And of course, it wasn't all of the weight, but it was enough because I didn't. Oh, my word. Okay, so I was at 280. And when I got there, I think I'd lost a good, oh man, I lost a lot of weight because people were shocked. I lost a good 30 pounds. And that doesn't sound like much, but in the first few weeks, I was dropping poundage like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I say poundage, but what is it? Oh my word. It was like hardcore. But in the first 6 months, I lost 80 pounds.
Yes.
And yeah, I was like,
there are a lot of doctors that say diabetologists and dietitians and that are nutrition minded talking to patients about diabetes.
Yeah.
Say, well, if you want to control your diabetes, just lose weight. And I'm thinking, okay, there is a little bit of evidence that does improve like insulin sensitivity and things like that. It's not the mere weight loss that provides the benefits.
No. And people try to tell me that. I had some people who were, I don't want to call them haters, but haters. They try to tell me that, oh, it's because you lost weight. I'm like, wait a minute. Because when my body was dumping, that was weight loss. So what are you telling me? No, I don't think so. It had nothing. I want to say yes, weight loss has something to do with it, but there's a hormonal change that takes effect.
Yeah.
And the sensitivity, yes. And then the hormonal change, yes. And then the way you're eating, yes. And I had a lot of people saying, oh, well, you can't hold on to this. It's not sustainable. Look, how is soap with your negativity? Shut up with your negativity. I don't want to hear it because I don't have time for that. I'm on a mission. Oh, well, you're looking good, but maybe you need to stop now. Oh, you're looking a beetje mager, scrawny.
I'm curious what that doctor who told you were going to die thinks now.
Man, I'm going to tell you, she is so ecstatic. I don't know if they have a picture of me in there, but every time I walk in, they're just like, good job. We're so excited for you and everything. If you could, oh man, I wish you could see. Now, you have my personal Instagram. if you look, you can see my wedding photo. That's how I looked, but that's when I had lost a little bit of weight. So when I was way bigger than that when I actually went going. But the doctor, she's like, oh my gosh, I love it. She's like, okay, because I married my husband and he also had diabetes. We got diabetes at the same time, but he's 51 and we had no clue. That's just the way it was. So she's like, okay, now his turn. Now you help him. And I'm like, okay, great, we can do this. But I'm gonna tell you something. The doctor who was the what do you call it, the head doctor, the officiating doctor, the doctor, he said, how are you doing this? And I said, through keto. And I expected from all of the things online for him to yell at me. He said, you need to make a toenail stick. You need to make a play and you need to put this online and you need to let people know what is happening. And I was like,
and look, yes, the perception is medical doctors don't want to hear, but truth be told, I've talked to a lot of them.
yes.
A lot of them say their colleagues, they believe in low carb keto, but because of stigma, they hush about it and they don't really talk. But if you do it on your own and you see success, a lot of doctors are doing exactly what your doctor just did for you. And so, yeah, I think it's a lot more prevalent and popular than anybody wants to admit.
Have you experienced the dreaded keto flu? Did you know that most of these symptoms are actually due to your body dumping excess electrolytes? This is where Element comes in. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. Element is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited to folks following a keto, low carb, or paleo diet. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium, with none of the junk, no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. Everyone needs electrolytes, especially those on low-carb diets, or if you practice intermittent or extended fasting, if you're physically active, or sweat a lot. Add Element today and see how much better you feel and perform. Use the URL drinklmnt.com/Jimmy.
Absolutely. And you know what? Because he said that, and because my daughter pushed me, and because I wanted to help people, I started a YouTube channel that is also The Lucky Stove.
The Lucky Stove.
Yes. And that's when we started showing people how we were eating. We started showing people how to make this and how to fail and how to keep going.
Because the link to your YouTube there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. In the link tree.
The Lucky Stove. Okay, I found it.
Yes. And you see me gawking through the oven, waiting for my food.
Yes.
Because that's how I am. I'm waiting. I'm always opening up. Mom, don't open it. It's not ready yet, but I just want to look. But when he told me that, and Lydia, she's 15. She's like, Mom, you should really do this. I think you should really do this. This is something. And I said, I don't know. I'm not educated. I have no training. I'm going to be talking all this stuff. Now, look, I was going online. I was searching everything up. I found you through Keto for Normies, which is, Matt and Mega.
Yep.
And I found Matt and Mega just on YouTube in general. But I was following Thomas DeLauer because of the science. I was like, oh my gosh. And he said, Keto for beginners. I said, ha. And so I watched it and I took notes and I started weighing myself and I started, slow down. I started weighing myself and I started, measuring myself and I started doing all those things and I had all that stuff. So I would look and it was never for me about the weight, Jimmy. It was about getting rid of this
Yes.
diabetes.
And by the way, we're running out of time, and I want to make sure we get to some of the strategies for freeing diabetics from drugs, which is the reason you came on today. Yeah. Your story is fascinating, and it incorporated a lot of the points that I was hoping would come out here today, so thank you for that. But tell me, let's say you have a client come to you, and they're like, Danielle, I need some help. I'm type 2 diabetic. I got an A1C of 12. You'd be like, hold my beer. I've been there. So
Exactly.
right.
Like what? Oh, is that all?
What are the go-to things that you talk to your clients about? Oh, and here's one more thing. What is something you didn't do that you wish you had done, or something you did do that you're like, I didn't need to do that when you were trying to get off of drugs?
Now, let's see. Okay, so firstly, let's go to the client. For the client, honestly, I have some that they've come to me and they're like, I don't know what to do. It's high. I don't know what to do. So at this point, I am telling them, I am going to be your monitor. I am your glucose monitor at this point. You prick, you tell me. I want to know at least 2 times a day. And I know this probably seems like much, especially with the strips costing so much, unless they have a continuous. But this is important. I said, I want to know what you're eating. I want to know when you're eating it. I want to know how you're sleeping at night. I want to know if you're going to bed with stress. I want to know if you're waking up with stress. I want to know who's in your kitchen, how many people are actually helping you to buy groceries, who is telling you where to go and how to go, because all of that makes a difference. It doesn't matter what they do if they're eating wonderfully, if they're stressed, because I found that out. I realized, you know what? I was eating great, and then my stress went whoosh, and yeah, you know
I
this.
was wearing a CGM. I've told this story a few times on the podcast, but I was wearing a CGM one day, and I got a very disturbing phone call that really upset me. And in real time, I could feel myself feeling bad, and I'm like, all right, let me make sure my blood sugar isn't dropping. Do you know
Yes.
in like a matter of 15 minutes by like 30, 40 points?
Exactly.
Food. It was just the stress of that call.
Yes, they don't, and I now more than ever, because I've gone through some certified training at this point with ketogenic living coaching with Kate Jaramillo, and then I've also gone into training with integrative health practicing. So I'm learning so much, and what I'm learning most of all is that it does not matter how great you eat. If your emotions are ruling you, then you are out of luck.
Yeah.
You are out of luck. You have to get those under control. Yes. Oh my goodness. Honestly, some of these coaching things, I don't feel like I'm preaching, but it's what it is. But I'm encouraging at the same time. What am I telling them? Yeah, I'm saying, look, check your blood sugar. Some of them are not so bad off, so they don't need to check it twice a day, or at least they don't have to report to me twice a day. But I say, at least you need to check twice a day. I need you to, like I said, monitor your food. Follow my regime of your food. Are you going to hate it? Maybe. Are you going to thank me later? Absolutely. But what you won't do is regret it.
What is your regimen?
Now, what I always call for, because I was strict, I went hardcore. I went 20 and under.
Yes.
Net. I mean, I'm sorry, total. I went 20 total. I wasn't going to have it. So I found my rice. My cauliflower rice. I found my pasta, the zoodles. I found all of the things, and I replaced them. And I said, what were we crying about missing these things? Because those are the things that I missed. What I missed the most? Bread. Okay, I found out how to make bread. I found out how to make it without vital wheat gluten.
Maria has a fantastic 2-ingredient, like protein sparing modified fast bread that's amazing.
I see that sometimes on her Instagram. I'm just like, I'm gonna have to try that. I'm gonna have to try it.
It's freaky because when it blows up, it like Wonder Bread. But it's, if you need bread, I don't need bread anymore. I've
right.
Roll up meat.
Yes, exactly, and easy clar. Exactly. But at the same time, that was one thing that was eating me up. I'll tell you one thing that I regret adding to my food, and it was vital wheat gluten. It was vital wheat gluten. I had no idea. You see, everybody said, this is okay. So what I learned in my keto journey, what not to do is don't just take everybody's advice. Research it. See why. If you don't know why, you're just going to do it, and then you're going to be disillusioned in the end, because it's not something that you're grounded in. You have to be grounded in it. Otherwise, you're just going to be going with every little shift and trend. And don't use keto as a trend. Do not use it as a diet. This thing is your healing tool. And then later on, if you become more flexible, then maybe you can add a pinch more in and a pinch more in. But I was so strict. I was hardcore. And people were telling me, are you sure that's keto? Is that keto? Because who is doing that? Is that keto? I have a skit. Is that keto? And coffee with Aunt Susie.
You would be so wonderful if you haven't already thought of this on TikTok, doing little talking.
Oh, my word. No way.
That's right.
TikTok is for young people. And
But-
you. And you. Hey. Love. It's love. Because you can get away with that. I can't get away with
Yes,
that.
well, you could have the personality for it, but anyway. Danielle, we're completely out of time. I'm hoping I could have more time with you, but you've been such a delight today, you guys. Danyell Wallet, go follow her on Instagram, Envision Whole Health, with a couple of underscores, Envision_Whole or Health. Definitely go check her out over on YouTube, The Lucky Stove. You also do a podcast, it looks like. Do you still do Type 2, Take 2 podcasts?
Absolutely.
So there's there. Go look wherever you listen to podcasts. And you keep doing your thing. I think your story is remarkable, and I'm glad that most of this episode was your story, because it encompasses the journey that got you to where you are now, coaching, helping other people. That was Danyelle circa 2 years ago.
Yes. And I really want to encourage you guys, if you're out there, if you don't know what road to take right now, take the good road. I mean, I know, okay, well, what's the good road? The good road is the road that's going to take you to a better place of health and mindset. You guys don't forget the mindset, man. I know we're out of time, but I just really got to say, if you guys don't get your mind right, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have to get your mind right. You have to have your stress levels at the right point. If you don't know who you are, take a mirror, take some time, write some things down. Yes. But most importantly, make sure that when you find out who you are, if you don't like who you are, that you take the time to love yourself anyway, and then take the time to make those changes. Yeah. Love yourself, and then and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, because you know what? There's too much. You don't have enough time in your life to be bitter about the things that you could have done, that you could have accomplished. You don't have time. You don't. You need to use what you got and do it. I'm sorry.
No, I love every bit of what you said there at the end. Thank you. What a great way to end this show, and thank you so much for being here.
You are so very welcome. Thank you for having me. It is my pleasure. I'll see you next time.
Get inspiration from the Living La Vida Low Carb Show. Hey, the livinglowcarbshow.com.
Woo! Real Good Foods is one of the fastest growing frozen food companies in the U.S. Everything they make is nutrient dense, high in protein, low in carbs, and made from real food ingredients. They make food for every occasion: breakfast sandwiches, poppers, enchiladas, entrees, and pizza. So whether you're on a keto diet, trying to cut back on your carbs, or just trying to eat healthier, they make super convenient and tasty options. RealGoodFoods.com and @RealGoodFoods on social media.